This is my first talk ever when I'm not talking to the actual audience, so I don't really know what is going to happen. And I've got no idea how to tell the jokes now that you should be laughing at, but I can't hear you. So maybe let's not do this. I want to make a case about quality, and especially the new role or the old role, which is called quality advocate. If someone is here who thinks we'll be talking about the quality, which means I'll be talking a lot about automation, I am not. As much as I like automation, we are not going to be talking about it. We're going to try to make a case for quality and why we kind of need more of it in our lives. So around 6 years ago, it's been a long time. I kind of helped co-founded a business which, in principle, helps non-technical founder, which means people who never had a clue about Agile, Lean, what is a database, how to code the component in React, what is an API, how to use GitHub. They've got no idea about it, but they still have a really big itch to start a business. So we open a company to help people like that start and build their own businesses. And over the last 6 years, we kind of built quite a few of them. And we built a team of really, really unshakable optimists of developers, quality people, designers, and product owners who kind of every single day wake up to help others people build their dreams and make a certain impact on the world. So if you are ever planning to start a business, you don't have to call us, but one of the things that you will be doing, you will be trying to look at something which is called a business deck, especially when you are a non-technical founder. You don't know how to code. You don't have friends who can code. You don't have any abilities your own. So you create a business deck. A business deck is just a representation of your idea. It's something that you can share with other people and show them what your business is all about. So over the last 5 years, I've probably seen more than 200 of those. And the way it operates is we figure out the ideas with our founders, and they are all over the place. They are extremely tiny, they're helping their local community, or extremely big that they want to change the world. We are building some of them and helping some of them to do this. We work with the founders who are students, CEOs, hairdressers, professional football players, accountants, consultants, MBA students, and everybody in between, old and young, it doesn't really matter. As long as you've got a great idea and you've got the chance to be a great co-founder and founder, we are in. So my job over the last few years was really just two things. One is to figure out if the person that we are supposed to work with is going to be a jerk. There is just no point of bringing a new business to our company when we know we wouldn't be able to work with that person. And if the answer to the first question is, yeah, we would love to work with you, then we look at your idea. And for most of the founders, they've got this beautifully designed PowerPoint presentation. And most of them, because I think this is a kind of a requirement of how to build a good business deck, is to build something what is called a competitor slide. And on that competitor slide, somehow, and I think there must be a logic behind it, there are either 4 squares and you are in the top right corner, or there is just 1 square and you are still in the top right corner. So as you can see, every single business that we've seen positioned themselves somewhere there on the scale of goodness, and every other business in their space is somewhere there on the badness scale. And that's okay. As a new business founder, you have to have hope, you have to have the optimism, you have to have something that differentiates you from all of the others. And just to show you a proof that this is how it happens, for those people who would like to recognize, this is the slide number 9 from this tiny little company that is changing our world every single day. And they used to be called Air Bed and Breakfast. They are Airbnb those days. That's the actual slide from their deck. And as you can see, they're always positioning themselves in the right corner where the space is for them. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just interesting fact. What happens next is even more interesting. Now they say, okay, how we are going to be different compared to our competition? And usually they end up with all of the green ticks, which means they're going to be more this, they're going to have more that, and more this, and less that, but they're all having the green ticks. It almost looks like the competition is just asleep and waiting for them to do something interesting, and they are ready to be disrupted. I think, again, there's nothing wrong with this. You have to find your USPs, and you have to find the points that differentiate you from everybody else. But what happens next is actually crucial. When we ask them the question, what's really wrong with your competitors? And till now, they were going through the slides, they were going through the presentation, their rational brain is operating beautifully, they are presenting better or worse, but they're just having a correct approach to it. The moment you ask this question, their emotional brains kicks in and they go all out. They said, oh, it's too complicated to use. They've got too many features or too little. They are too slow to load. It's not easy or clear how to do or what to do next. The design looks like it's from the 80s. It keeps crashing. The new features haven't been released since 1992. They're just not user-friendly. And we received that kind of a like almost like a rant of all of the things that is wrong with their competition and why their business should exist. When we do our user research, a lot of those things are getting confirmed. And it's not that just our founders are biased and they just want to start the business for the sake of it. A lot of those quality challenges are there and existing in the market, and they belong to small and big companies, and there's just no differentiation between them. So in principle, the poor quality is, I think, one of the main reasons for starting the business. Someone just gets really frustrated with how the current situation operates. And then on top of it comes all of the other interesting things: a better business model, a better persona, a unique selling point, a better technology. But the poor quality, I think, is the driver behind quite a lot of concepts that we actually seen and helped created. So there's nothing new in it. This is just the way. This is how every single business operates. This is how you find your new ideas. Those concepts have been around for a very, very long time. One thing that is very different compared to the past days is that at this moment, if you don't know, there is about 8,000 dating websites and dating apps all over the world. And actually, probably every single one on this call is building another one, just for the sake of argument. The challenge here is that every single one of those dating apps comes with exactly the same assumptions that their quality is going to be better, and put everybody else into the left corner and putting them into the right corner. The thing is, I would get it if you're comparing yourself to the company that has been on the market for 500 years and they're really old and they shouldn't be there and they shouldn't exist, but they are. So you're saying, oh, we are going to be that much better. But actually, 2 weeks ago, you are comparing yourself with a company that has been released 2 months ago, which means those founders had the best intentions to be high quality, to not to have all of those challenges that you're talking about. And somehow the element of quality gets either lost on the journey or neglected a bit, or there are other factors that impacts why we constantly gets frustrated with what's out there. And of course, when it comes to the quality, the kind of the challenges which we are seeing, and it just takes 5 seconds to see what happens. So just last week in quality, like if anybody works for Citibank, I'm sorry, if that's your interface to operating your business and you are trying to send 7.8 million, but by accident you sent 900 million, I think you deserve to lose that money. Someone just put just way too many ticks in that user interface and things went wrong. If you think about it, the biggest financial institution in the world, the American Fed, which is Federal Reserve System, went down and stopped any transactions between the banking system in the US for hours. Like they will probably blame some kind of a random quality person or a microservice that went down, whatever will be their excuse. That's kind of a very, very interesting statement and where they are. I'm sure that if I will make a survey with all of you guys, I think you don't remember when was the last time your systems went down, or maybe if you do, there's some things that we can improve when it comes to the quality. But if things don't go down anymore, or it's really, really difficult to put things down, but somehow the biggest financial organization in the world went down for hours. And then, of course, the articles like this, like a third of mobile users delete buggy apps immediately. And this is a challenge for me. I come from the world of quick validation, lean startup, lean hypothesis, releasing something to the users to learn more from them. But if their approach is, as soon as I've seen something wrong, I delete your app, well, I really have to reconsider how we code, what we release, how often we can release, and what we can really count on when it comes to our users' approach to what we do. Well, I also went, in preparation for this talk, I went to quite a few other people and forums where everybody from, a lot of people from our industry talks about the quality. And as usual, we had those surveys and what is the biggest issues for them to kind of build better quality within their businesses. And the overarching theme is, well, we're trying to do too much, too fast, and we just cannot handle the challenge of the quality versus the challenge of balancing the delivery pressure. And look, I will grant you, I'm the first person to be doing the delivery pressure. I want our startups to be there. I want to learn from the users. But I think in the drive, and we'll discuss this in a second, in the tyranny of the user stories, we are starting to lose certain things and certain aspects. It's not all bad. Actually, if you look at our space and when it comes to the approach to quality, it's not all that bad. We actually have got multiple unicorn companies that actually exist, which are doing tremendous work in regards to improving the quality in old legacy system, brand new stuff, and it's not an issue. We've got quality done really, really well in multiple aspects, from automation to great testers searching for really, really big bugs, to DevOps releasing early, releasing often, to having code quality, to having test-driven development, to having Selenium, Appium, Cypress, Postman, and all of those other tools that makes our code better. We've got multiple researchers working on the front end. So it's not all bad. And I think we are on the right direction and on the right track. My kind of thoughts are about how do I spread the culture of quality within my organization? That's one. And also, how do I spread the quality further than just the development process that it mostly currently operates within? And also, we've got a huge body of knowledge. If any of you thought that the quality is everyone's responsibility, has been invaded 2 years ago by some agile coach, you're fundamentally wrong. This data is from Edward Deming from, I think, 50 years ago. Almost every single thing, every single great thing about the quality has already been said, documented, and presented. Just read Edward Deming and you'll feel like this is a nirvana for most of the agile teams if you really want to improve your quality. While preparing for this talk, I not only had the pleasure to speak with about, I don't know, 50, 75 candidates for quality roles within our company, but also with multiple testers from other organizations. And I've learned that there is a job title called zombie tester now. I didn't know that. It's a tester apparently who comes into work and just execute the script one click at a time. And they're called zombie testers. I don't know if that's true, but that sounds like a terrible name for it. And the way I look at the quality and the testers that we've got is that the testers within our teams are really, really bad at explaining at what they do. If you're a tester and you come to me and say, hey, Pavel, I just have got a really long Excel spreadsheet, or what even worse, I've got a really long Jira ticket with 1,600 test cases in it, and this is what I'm going to be doing every single day from now on. Well, you're not really selling the value of the testing to neither your leadership nor the team members around you. And I'm not saying that there is no value in it. I'm just saying that this is a really bad thing to say that the testers do. I think of the testers much more like an orchestra at this moment. So like, if the orchestra plays, most of those people don't really do much. They are definitely not productive in the sense of how we would like them to do it. You would like the guy on the drums to constantly be doing something because he is not doing something. So just force them to just keep using that drum. You know that there is always in the orchestra this one guy with whatever is the instrument name for the triangle. He is waiting a whole hour to just have this one moment when he actually do make the sound, and then it's awesome. And I think that that's how you judge the impact of an instrument on the song, rather than you're trying to make them all productive. And the more I think about the quality, the more I think about how does the limited amount of people, time, and effort we've got can really impact the business versus how do I keep them busy? How do I keep them just clicking on something just because they have to be there? So the metaphor of an orchestra, I think it also applies to an agile team, but it's an interesting thing for the quality team. And in my view, the great testers are endangered species. I really spoke with a lot of people trying to hire our brand new quality team for UCreate. And I don't see angry people. I don't see angry people with how they are operating in their current companies and sometimes how bad software they are releasing. I see people who are, to a certain extent, a bit tired of every single thing that hits them and how they cannot really escape to have a better position and to have a better place for their quality objectives. And the worst thing that happens to them is they think that to be better, they have to do the automation. I don't think so that the automation is the solution for our testing needs, especially for people who wants to be great testers. So like I said, impact over productivity and really thinking about how we can change the perception of the quality within our teams. And now, in regards to the automated testing, everybody now wants to be an automated tester, and there is fundamentally nothing wrong with it. We use it a lot, and I think this is going to be more and more present in our work. Just let's make sure that what we mean by automated testing is actually not really testing. It's dramatically more about checking that something that we thought worked yesterday is still working. The testing has got so much more tremendous value to us, our teams, and our organizations, that everybody who is currently a manual tester and thinks of, oh, as long as I've got automated testing skills, I will be fine. Well, there is a big challenge about this. And what we are missing are actually things which start before the planning happens, which means every single thing that all of those activities that happens before the team actually starts working on something, and every single thing that happens after we finish working. If you allow me to just explain what I mean by that is, there is tons of stuff that at this moment our teams are doing and our quality team is impacting that. And I really want to stretch that quality for a very simple reason, is that quality to our customers is extremely subjective, and also it's unbounded. What I mean by that is, if I will make a survey here about what is your favorite cup of coffee or what is high quality coffee, some of you would answer that it's an espresso. Some of you would say it's a flat white. And some of you would say it's a coffee with cream with double vanilla syrup from Coffee Day. All of you are kind of right. It's a very subjective opinion, and that's fine. And what you consider about the coffee is subjective. It is up to you to decide. What is even worse for the people who are trying to judge the quality and build the best coffee for everybody is the aspect that it's actually unbound. I would love to have a double espresso just before this call so I can rise my adrenaline level and I can have the caffeine in my veins and have a great time. But if you put me in a beautifully designed coffee place in London, when you smell the coffee being roasted and people are just having a great conversation and the experience is just mind-blowing, I don't want a quick shot of espresso. I would just be enjoying that place, drinking the tiny cappuccino forever. So even the quality of the same drink might be very, very different, depends on our boundaries and where we are and what we do. So taking into consideration that the quality is like this, it's extremely subjective and extremely unbound. In my view, we need someone who represents that quality, who starts talking with our users dramatically earlier, even before anything about the backlog is created. Because it's really hard to build a high quality products when we've missed that conversation. So that's one of the aspects of where I think Dan, and he actually addressed this, that he also thinks that things pre-plan requires a lot of testing and a lot of exploration and a lot of focus on quality. And he also mentioned a word called goodness. And this is the other side of the equation. If you think about this lovely infinity sign, when we release in, I don't know how it is in your organization, but in 95 of the cases, we live by the tyranny of the user stories. You haven't even seen the build being deployed. You're already picking up the next user stories and there's another sprint and you've got not even a second to reconsider what happened. And you definitely don't have the time to go to your users and find out if the quality of what you delivered actually meet their expectation. You sometimes get 50 bucks from the customer service team, but that's not you. That's not you going to them and actually actively and proactively trying to figure out what's wrong and what's right. So Dan used the term goodness as the final experience of what we actually delivered to the customers to be that great and to be so focused on quality. And I spoke during the interviews, I always ask about what was the success metric of the person who was delivering the projects. And some of you are delivering mind-blowing things in regards to how much of an impact they potentially could have. But when I ask, how do you know that the project was successful? 99.9 times, the answer is, oh, we pushed it live. Like, but what do you mean? Well, it's like, it's live. The code is there. It's running on some kind of a server, sharing some kind of a data with someone, and it's pink. It's lovely. It's like, that is missing such a big aspect of the initial conversation. What does quality means for that customer? And did you really get that quality that you were expecting? And I think that stretch of the quality abilities and quality impact on what we do is going to be a very interesting conversation that I believe we should be having. So I am trying to figure out a way of having dramatically bigger holistic view of quality. And I know that you could argue that some of this is a potential user experience, that some of this is already there because agility means that you've got the customer on site. I don't know how you do this now in COVID. This becomes dramatically more difficult. But I think we very, very strongly, and we fixed a lot of problems within quality of our own code, our own products, our own individual sprint or individual cycle time of a story within the Kanban system. That quality is beautifully and nicely fixed. What I'm trying to say is, I actually would like our quality teams to understand the things which starts before and that starts after. So that's the way I would like to pitch this. And why the word advocates? And the word is not mine. That has been created, I think, in 2013. And the way it was represented, it is from, I forgot the name, but they used to work for, or they still work for ThoughtWorks, and they kind of came with this definition of quality advocacy as a software delivery practice of guiding the whole team to build the right product and to build the product right by fostering a mindset of continuous process improvement, taking a holistic view of the product and communicating constant awareness of the product quality. I look at our testers as crazy busy with actually doing certain pieces of work in all of our processes that we've got. I almost need a person who steps away from actually doing and looks at the whole quality of the system that we are running and having. Someone who sees the quality that is wrong because the initial requirements were bad, or we actually never really asked the customer what the quality is, or we never really checked, is the thing that we are delivering actually high quality and match expectations of the user? And on top of it, I think that we really need a person, a role, a responsibility, a job title, however we want to call it, of someone who is just never letting it go, someone who will argue for those lost causes of the same way as legal professionals would do. They will fight to protect the causes which are potentially lost, to make sure that the quality is everywhere. I look at our quality advocates that we are currently having within our organization as people who would say, okay, it looks like our designs are far away from great. How do I help my designers to become better and to produce higher quality outcomes? Okay, can I run a usability study with them so that they really understand where the challenges are? Okay, it looks like our APIs are failing for whatever reason. Can I help them teach Postman API automation testing? Maybe I do. Okay, our manual testing is really struggling and this is a really difficult thing to test. Nobody knows how. Let me help. The quality advocate might actually be able to help in some of those cases. And it's a huge responsibility. But because they see the big picture, they are not just productive and trying to hit every single items of it. They can pick and choose where to really be involved and what to do about it. Why I also like the word advocates, if you spend as much time as I do on YouTube, there is this really cool legal drama called Boston Legal, and the advocates there are really fighting for what is right. And I strongly believe that in most of the cases, fighting to the death for the quality of the product that we release so that we are never in the newspapers and our customers are happy with what we do, is worth fighting. I also think that to a certain extent, the quality advocates, and I don't really mind about the job title, whatever job title you want to have, either within my organization or however you want to call it, it's more about the capabilities. And there's plenty of new skills that those testers, quality advocates will need to have to adjust to that new role. It's like running a user interview when you've never done this and you are really doing the testing of the product is hard. Talking to people and saying, hey, let's talk about this quality. Tell me more about this. Running those interviews is not easy. Going to the customer at the end and saying, hey, tell me how the quality is of what we delivered, and receiving a really bad feedback, well, that's not fun. So I think that there will be plenty of new skills that great testers and great quality advocates and great quality people will need to learn and adjust. And of course, our organizations should or could help them to do this with training, with mentoring, with supporting them. But I think that the benefits are tremendous. I also think that having this holistic view of someone constantly caring about the quality have got a huge impact on testing. We actually ran an experiment at UCreate by totally removing quality for a while, because we had a huge challenge that every single person at UCreate thought that because we've got quality assurance people, then all of the bugs can be actually caught by them and they don't need to care. So for a while, we ran a company with zero quality engineers, zero quality advocates, and almost zero testers. And that worked to a certain extent. We improved dramatically how the rest of the team thinks about the quality. But now I have to admit that we really need to bring the actual quality thinking back in, because we reached the moment where, yeah, we can do all of the automation we want. We've got amazing code review processes and so on and so on. And we still need better. And I think that better is only done by having great testers, quality advocates within the team. And the other aspect is, I cannot imagine any company saying, I don't want to have a great quality or great outcomes to our customers. So I think that the organization finally knowing and seeing and having people who are fighting for the quality of what they do would be extremely beneficial. At this moment, we just need to give our testers, and however the role is going to be called, the voice to be able to shout what is going wrong and just not let it go. That's the crucial bit here, is that role cannot allow bad things to happen. So I'll leave you with two quotes. I don't think so you can go wrong with Edward Deming at the end saying that the bad system will beat a good person every time. I think there is plenty of great testers somewhere out there who are getting beaten up by the systems that they're working in, and they just think that a lot of hope is lost. I don't think so we are that bad. I don't think so that Agile is the wrong approach to it. I think there's plenty of positive things that is happening. I think we still have to keep thinking more about how to adjust those processes and how to make them really prominent within our organization so that those users can, those testers can actually enjoy the work and feel a lot of joy. And I'm not saying that Steve Jobs is a guru of quality. I don't think so he was, but at the same time, there was something very, very special about him when it comes to how he chased this excellence. And I think this is how I see it. Adding those extra elements of quality being involved through actually the whole process from day one to the last day is going to help us a lot to achieve that excellence, rather than just us being in the system of work, what we do, and the tyranny of the one individual user story. I think that's me. Thank you very much.
Oh, great, Pawel. We finished before time.
I tried.
So, do we have any questions for Pawel?
Pavel, really loved the way you talked about the advocates of quality. I think that's the key thing. Doesn't matter in which field you are working. So I think examples which you have shared will definitely help me in my overall journey.